Hello everyone, you are welcome to the Tailor's Hub. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how I made this, my simple method of making this inbuilt underbust corset. Okay, this particularly works especially for dresses with a straight waistline. Okay, so this is what you like to see. I encourage you to watch this video and of course watch it to the very end so that you can grab all the details of this tutorial. Alright, if this is your first time on this channel, thank you for watching. Please do well to subscribe, like, and turn on your notifications so you know when a new video is uploaded. Thank you. Alright guys, these are the materials that we'll be using for the style. Okay, so I will not be focusing so much on the making of the dress. I will not be explaining how I made the dress. I just included this in this video so it would, you see how for those of us that even without the explanation can still grab a few things. Okay, so I'll be focusing majorly on how to make the inbuilt underbust corset. Okay, so this is not a tutorial for beginners. Alright, so my beginners friend, I want you to bear with me, as one of the major goals of this channel is to help beginners. Alright, is to create beginner friendly tutorials. Alright, so once I'm done with the cutting of this, I've done the skirt part already. So once I'm done with the cutting of the upper parts that I'm on right now, then we'll go ahead and do our inbuilt underbust corset inside this dress. I want you to stay with me. Alright. Alright guys, you're welcome back. So to cut the underbust corset, I placed the front block of the bustier, the front and the side, on a material I folded into two. I move it up about 5 inches down. Okay, 5.5 inches for this particular one. Okay, and I mark the points on the underbust. Okay, so I added allowance. I measured the hip of this person's, added the hip and the sewing allowance, and I mark the underbust, adding ½ inch for sewing allowance. Alright, so then I go ahead and cut it out. Cut out both the center, cut out the dart lines, and then the side as well. So to cut the back, all I did was to cut just the side, that center side, exactly the same. That's what we're going to use as the back. Then I also go ahead and double it. I'm going to use the same material as the lining of the dress. It's a very simple strategy that I use for my inbuilt corset. Alright, you can try this out. Is not difficult at all. Alright, so I go ahead and cut my lining, cut out the dart lines. Alright, and that's all. I also double the side. That's for the back. This is for the back. and I don't need to cut any one at the center. That's enough for the back. So that's about that. So all I need to do now, both for the bustier that I had cut, is to cut the stay and everything on them. Then I go ahead and also cut my sleeve. I cut the sleeve right away. I like to do all my cuttings. I cut everything that I need before I start sewing. Alright, so that's that for the sleeve. Like I said earlier, I'm not going to dwell so much on the making of this dress. Okay, so after the sleeve, then we'll go ahead and sew the underbust corset. Okay, so I've added the stay, as you can see, and I join. That's for the front. I join the dart lines together, the center front and the side for the front. That's it. Okay, so I also go ahead and join the lining, what I'm going to use to turn it. Then I go ahead and mark the placing of the boning, where it's going to sit on the what's it called, on the corset. So for the back, as you can see, 3 lines on each side. I place the one that is close where the corset is going to, the lacing is going to sit. I put about 2 bonings on it, on about 1.5 inches apart on the lines. Okay, on the line. So that is where the eyelet is going to sit, about 1.5 inches, sorry, apart on the edge, of course leaving the sewing allowance. Also for the side, just like the way I marked the front, is about 3 inches apart. As you can see, look at this now. On the dart line, I place the boning. This is a Regilene. Okay, this is what I use on it. So about 3 inches apart from the place where the lacing of the corset is going to be. Okay, so also ensure that while you are sewing your bone, whether it's a Regilene or you want to create bone channels, like if you are not going to use a Regilene, a sewable bone, if you are going to create bone channels, ensure to leave about 1 inch space down and up, so that when you want to turn, or when you want to tape it, or you want to turn, if you are going to turn it the way I did, or you're going to tape it, it will not be sitting on the boning. All right, so that's just as simple. It's very easy to do. This is very easy for me. Okay, all right, so I go ahead and sew all the bonings, both for the front and for the back. Okay, so please forgive me if this is too fast. I don't want the video to be too long. All right, you can watch it again and again to have a better understanding of what I did there. All right, this is the back now. Okay, so like I said, the boning on the place where the lacing is going to sit is about 1.5 inches apart. This is the first one now. Then I go ahead and sew the second one. It's 1.5 because it's in between that space. That's 1.5 inches apart. That's the eyelet is going to sit. All right, so that's that. So I have joined all. I don't know what happened here. Maybe while the way we placed my phone, the way, I don't know, something went wrong, and the placement of the video. Please just endure, and and I hope you can see this very well. It's something where I didn't even notice this until the editing of the video of this video. Sorry. All right, so that's about that. After sewing all the bonings, and I use my lining to turn the upper part and the lower part, leaving the sides. I'm not going to turn the side because the side is going to enter the sides of the dress. I'm going to turn the upper parts, the up and the down of the corset, the up and the down. I'm going to turn it. Look at it. All right, so that's that. Now look at what we have here. I have used the lining to turn it. Okay, so the next thing, ensure to iron properly. Iron it very well so that the boning can straighten out. So what I did, I like to sew my, I don't like my clothes to be sewn outside. I like to sew it inside. So the corset is going to be placed on the lining. It's going to be placed on the lining. So what I did here, I don't know whether you noticed, is to get the measurement of the underbust. So it's going to sit right under the underbust. So from the underbust, I measure what is there to the waist line. For this dress is 4 inches. Then on that 4 inches, that's where I'm going to place it, both for the front and the back. So I'm going to place it on the lining. So by the time I sew lining to lining and the wrong side and the right side of this dress, I'm going to sew the lining to lining and the main cloth itself to clothes. Then we have it. All right, so that's about that. It's not hard. For some people that don't like sewing, maybe for adjustment's sake and all that, it's still the same thing. You still place it on the lining and sew it together with your clothes, and then you go ahead and weave it. It's still the same thing. I most because it's my brand identity most of the time, except for a few styles. So most of my clothes, I like to sew them, and I like the sewings to be inside, maybe except the armpits that I have to weave or tape it. All right, so this is it. I placed it on the lining. I placed both the front and the back on the lining. So I'm going to go ahead now and mark my bust. This dress bust is for a client's waist and hip circumference, and then go ahead and sew it together. All right, I trust you can understand this tutorial. Okay, so if you don't understand, please watch it again and again. I'm sure that by the time you watch it over and over again, you will understand it very well. All right, that's the way I sew mine. So I'm marking all the measurements now. Okay, when I'm done marking the measurements, then we'll go ahead and join it together, iron, and that's it. It's very simple. It's as simple as ABC. All right, also remember to reduce your waist by 2 or more inches depending on how snatched you want your waist to be. Else, after you have snatch the waist and you make it exact your waist, it's going to be big. All right.